UN boss calls for international support to help recovery and rebuilding in hurricane-hit islands of the Bahamas. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline from Monday, September 16th from the CMC News Center in Bridgetown. I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. Describing the powerful Hurricane Durian that devastated the Bahamian islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama as Category Hell, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called for more international support for the nation to overcome the impact of the storm. He made the call as he pointed to the Category 5 Durian as another sign of climate crisis in which the most vulnerable are hit. Guterres visited the hurricane-hit islands over the weekend and said it was key for the international community to learn two things from the monster storm which struck on September 1st, killing at least 50 people. One, he said, is that there is a need to stop climate change and reverse the current trend. The other is that countries like the Bahamas that do not contribute to climate change but are among the first to feel the devastating impacts deserve international support to be able to fully respond to the humanitarian emergency and to rebuild. Guterres insisted that the international community has a huge responsibility to support the Bahamas.
The financial cost of the damage caused by Durian is not clear, but it will be in the billions of dollars, and the Bahamas cannot be expected to foot this bill alone. These new large-scale climate-related disasters demand a new multilateral response. Climate financing is one element. We must reach the target of $1 billion per year from public and private sources for mitigation and adaptation in the developing world, as rich countries have been promising for nearly a decade. And we must improve access to development financing. In cases like the Bahamas, I strongly support proposals to convert debt into investment in resilience. Concessional financing must be made available to indebted middle-income countries that are vulnerable to extreme weather events.
Guterres also urged world leaders attending the upcoming UN Climate Action Summit to show up with plans to achieve carbon neutrality, reduce emissions, and improve adaptation.
The best available science is, as reported by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, says we must ensure collectively that global temperature rise does not go beyond 1.5 degrees. And it says that we have a window of less than 11 years to avoid irreversible climate disruption, and that we must reduce emissions by 45% by 2030 and achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. And this is why I'm asking all leaders to come to the climate summit with plans, not speeches, in New York in 1 week's time.
Well, after visiting Abaco and Grand Bahama, which one government minister described as Bahamas' ground zero, the UN chief said he was horrified by the level of devastation. He said that despite having spent 10 years in some of the most crisis-ridden parts of the world as head of the UN Refugee Agency, he had never seen anything like it.
It's impossible not to be horrified with the destruction in Abaco after Hurricane Durian. I've never seen such a dramatic devastation anywhere else in the world. They say this is a hurricane category 5. I believe it is a hurricane category L. But it was not powered by the devil. It was powered by climate change. It was powered by human action. Nature is angry. We need to show nature that we respect it. We need to be able to change course and to adopt the policies, the measures that are necessary for climate action to prevail.
Meantime, the Bahamas government has implemented a ban on construction of new buildings in the 4 major shanty towns on Abaco to allow for recovery efforts and removal of storm debris. The cease order took immediate effect in the communities of Mud, Pigeon Peas, Sandbank and Farm Road, all areas flattened by Hurricane Durian. Before the hurricane, there were more than 1,000 homes and an estimated population of 3,500 in those areas. The cease order is valid for 6 months in the first instance, but may be extended for a further 6-month period as required. Well, Bermuda is now under tropical storm warning, with Hurricane Humberto expected to approach the island on Wednesday night, possibly as a major hurricane. Forecasters say Humberto, which dumped heavy rains on the Bahamas over the weekend when it was a tropical storm, is becoming stronger and is now carrying maximum sustained winds near 90 miles per hour. Additional strengthening is expected during the next 48 hours, and Humberto is forecast to become a major hurricane that's Category 3 or higher by Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. National Security Minister in Bermuda, Wayne Keynes, told a news conference on Monday afternoon that the Emergency Measures Organization, the EMO, is prepared. He says it's expected Bermuda will begin feeling the effects of the hurricane as early as Tuesday.
We expect this weather system to bring rain as early as 10 a.m. on Tuesday morning. As such, I encourage the public to revisit their personal and family preparedness programs to get ready for the storm. I must implore all Bermudians to take the storm seriously and to prepare their homes and their businesses and everything in their personal set of circumstances for the storm. Dry preparation time from now until mid-morning tomorrow. After mid-morning tomorrow, it will be followed by thunderstorms which will lead to the edge of Hurricane Humberto.
National Disaster Coordinator Steve Cosham stressed the need to be prepared.
Humberto is 3 days out. The National Hurricane Center allow for an error in their predictions of 40 miles for every 12 hours out the storm is. So this equates to over 240 miles in 3 days. Humberto is also expected to start to bend to the north before it reaches Bermuda. So this means it's too early to say exactly what will happen. There's also another tropical depression in the Atlantic about 2 weeks behind Humberto that we are closely watching. So the message from that is we must be prepared.
Well, in the latest advisory issued at 5 p.m., Hurricane Humberto was 670 miles west of Bermuda and moving towards the east-northeast at 7 miles per hour. In other news, police in Jamaica are reporting an increase in all major crimes in the parish of St. Catherine. The news follows the declaration of a state of emergency there earlier this month. We get more in this report from TVJ News.
Jamaica, rocked by violence, has forced the government to declare several states of emergency to cauterize a crime which has seen over 900 murders since the start of the year, with still over 3 months to go. But conscious that the security forces alone will not be able to get violence under control, the push is now to get the people involved in preventing crime through a program urging them to live good. This will be done by taking the program across the length and breadth of Jamaica, instilling old-time Jamaican values in the youth of today.
When we make these kinds of social intervention, we need to ensure that there's support behind it so that we keep the vibes and keep the effort going in the communities, that we can preserve and build upon the goodwill that we generate from activities like this.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang, whose ministry is spearheading the initiative, said it is aimed at restoring a sense of family and community, bringing back a time when people reasoned rather than fight.
Well, that story you just heard was actually about the National Security Ministry launching an anti-violence campaign to encourage Jamaicans to resolve conflicts amicably. The campaign is dubbed Live Good, and it's a call to action for all Jamaicans to take a stand against all criminal activity. Still to come, a historic referendum in the works for Cayman Islands. The details after the break. Stay with us.
Coming up on Caribbean Passport, highlights of a memorable CariFesta 14 in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. The creativity of the Caribbean and all that the region has to offer was on full display. Celebrate our Festival of Arts as we strengthen the bond between us on Caribbean Passport, the CariFesta edition, right here on this station.
After an emergency, you can help yourself and others by looking, listening, and linking.
Looking because you want to see if the person has some signs that is in distressing. Looking for the symptoms, how best you can support the person. And then listening, because listening is very important. Listening with your ears, listening with your eyes. If you do that well, then you'll be able to link them to the appropriate resources.
Be ready, look, listen, and link.
We continue in the Cayman Islands, where the government says it will seek to hold a referendum on the cruise and cargo port as quickly as possible. The fate of the planned $200 million development in Georgetown Harbor now lies in the hands of the public. This is Cayman's first ever people-initiated referendum and also the first people-initiated referendum in any of Britain's overseas territory. According to local reports, the poll could be held as early as mid-November. Cabinet will begin drafting a bill paving the way for the public vote this week. Campaigners reached a historic milestone last week after the elections office confirmed it had met the threshold of obtaining signatures from 25% of registered voters to force the referendum. In other news, the UK-based Tullow Oil Company and the US-based ExxonMobil on a Monday announced the discovery of more oil in the Guyana Basin. This is the first time there have been two major finds on the same day, bringing the total to 16 discoveries since May 2015. We get more in this Newsroom Guyana report.
At a regional workshop on operational and environmental safeguards at the Marriott Hotel, the Director of the Department of Energy, Dr. Mark Bino, delivered opening remarks shortly after he announced back-to-back oil discoveries by Tullow and yet another one by ExxonMobil.
Even before this conference commenced, we were reminded about the prolific rate of oil discovery in the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, with 2 new finds. And thanks for the applause.
UK-owned Tullow Oil and US oil major ExxonMobil both announced their discoveries offshore Guyana on Monday morning. On the sidelines of the event, Dr. Bino said the government is appreciative of the rate of discovery. But like many others, his major concern will be how the average Guyanese benefits from this resource.
What it means for Guyana is that it does demonstrate that the country has substantial oil resources. For the average man, however, it's important to see how these resources will ultimately be translated into social and economic benefits that can transform his or her life. We within the department continue to look to elaborate frameworks which will allow for the efficient management of these resources, not only from an economic standpoint but also from a socioeconomic as well as an environmental and safety standpoint.
ExxonMobil made an oil discovery at the Triple Tail 1 well on the Starbrook Block offshore Guyana. The well is located approximately 3 miles northeast of the Longtail discovery. It was drilled in 6,572 feet of water and encountered approximately 108 feet of a high-quality oil-bearing sandstone reservoir. With this new find, ExxonMobil is expected to continue to move forward exploration and development activities elsewhere on the Starbrook Block. The media caught up with ExxonMobil country manager Rod Henson, who commented on the find.
Yeah, very happy to announce a Triple Tail 1 discovery. This is more good news for Guyana. So we'll need to do some more evaluation work before we would update any resource numbers.
ExxonMobil had previously announced estimated recoverable resource of more than 6 billion oil equivalent barrels on the Starbrook Block. Meanwhile, UK-based Tullow Oil made its second discovery at the Joe 1 exploration well in the Oringduke Block offshore Guyana.
In this week's Newsline Health, the Bahamas continues to assess the impact of Hurricane Durian on its healthcare services, and Ghana urges precaution against the spread of dengue fever. Marie-Claire Williams has the details.
Health Minister of the Bahamas, Dr. Dwayne Sands, says health services are stretched in the wake of Hurricane Durian. Dr. Sands says doctors and nurses from the capital, Nassau, have been deployed to Grand Bahama and Abaco, and this has left the main Princess Margaret Hospital understaffed.
We've now brought in 5,000+ persons, and many of them require medical attention. The staff from the Princess Margaret Hospital and the clinics, a number of them have been moved into the Family Islands. So your major hospital facility now cannot stay on emergency mode. We have been accumulating an unmet need. And so we're not only focused on those islands, but we have to strengthen our core or premier health facility. And we're going to do that with the assistance of our international partners.
Health officials in Guyana are continuing to encourage residents to take every precaution to reduce the spread of dengue fever. The latest advice comes on the heels of a recent report from the Pan American Health Organization that more than 2 million people in the Americas contracted the disease during the first 7 months of this year. The Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Shamdeo Persard, says, however, there is no evidence of a major risk to Guyana at the moment.
So far, from the samples that we have collected, we have not seen any new strain. There are 4 different types of dengue, type 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so far, we have had, regular occurrence of only one type here, right? The danger happens when you have new types introduced. Okay, so there might be some amount of circulation, but it's not at a critical level of danger at this point in time.
However, he says residents should ensure that they keep their surroundings free of any potential mosquito breeding sites.
Any little collection of water that sits around can be a potential breeding for the Aedes mosquito. So we would like for persons to continue to maintain good sanitation around their household to ensure that any collection of fresh water, things like coconut shells, for example, if you discard them carelessly and we get a rain shower, it might collect some water in it. That same little bit of water is enough to become a breeding site for Aedes, and they will go into the home, bite persons.
Marie-Claire Williams, Newsline Health.
Ahead in sport, St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots end their losing streak in the CPL. We'll be right back.
As a small business owner, you have to make sure your technology is available and operational at all times. But what happens when your network crashes, your email goes down, or your user systems get a virus? You may try to fix the issue yourself, but you can end up making the problem a lot worse. At Digital Networking Solutions, we're more than just people who try to fix your computers. We monitor, maintain, and support your IT systems so that you can focus on growing your business to its fullest potential. When you sign up for one of our IT support plans, we get familiar with your IT environments beforehand, so we can manage it proactively as if it were our own. Your business deserves the best IT services available to ensure it functions to its maximum efficiency. So give us a try today. Email or call us, and we will give you a free network assessment to determine whether now is the time for your small business to adopt Digital Networking Solutions for a smoother, more reliable network experience.
I'm Brittany Dixon, and you're watching Finding Fit, the show where I pair up one client with 2 trainers. Trainer number 1.
Oh my gosh.
It's about fitness, comedy.
I can do this all day,
drama.
In future, we cannot be late.
Inspirational stories, and so much more. You are gonna love it. You can catch Finding Fit prime time this fall on CaribVision.
Debutant fast bowler Akeem Jordan made an instant impact while opener Evan Lewis struck his second half century as St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots recovered from losing 2 games on the trot to beat St. Lucia Zooks by 6 wickets as the Caribbean Premier League continued on Sunday night. In pursuit of a hardly challenging 139 at Warner Park, Patriots swept only their second win of their CPL campaign with 31 balls remaining in the contest under lights. Zooks, sent in earlier, produced a lackluster batting effort to finish on 138 for 9 off their 20 overs. The 24-year-old Jordan, in his first ever T20, took apart the Zooks with 4 for 33 from his 4 overs, while leg break bowler Usama Mir and medium pacer Riyad Emrit provided excellent support, taking 2 wickets each. With the victory, Patriots moved into 3rd place in the 6-team standings on 4 points, while Zooks remained 4th on 2. Meanwhile, veteran opener Chris Gale surpassed 13,000 T20 runs as Jamaica Tallawahs broke a 4-game losing skid with a 4-wicket victory over Barbados Tridents. Playing in steamy conditions at Sabina Park, Tallawahs stifled the Tridents with spin, restricting them to 140 for 9 off their allotted 20 overs. Ashley Nurse, batting at number 7, top scored with an aggressive 18-ball 37. In reply, Tallawahs spoiled a strong start after suffering a mini collapse, but recovered in time to reach their target with 9 deliveries left. Captain Chadwick Walton controlled the run chase with an unbeaten 51 off 42 balls, his 9th CPL 50, while opener Glenn Phillips struck 28, rookie Javel Glenn 27, and Gale 22. Despite the win, Tallawahs still lie bottom of the standings on 2 points, while Tridents are just above them in 5th, also on 2 points, but with a superior net run rate. The West Indies women's misery continued on Saturday night when they suffered yet another defeat to Australia women in the opening 2020 international of their 3-match series. Choosing to bat first in the affair under lights at Kensington Oval, West Indies women could only muster 106 for 8 off their 20 overs, with captain Stephanie Taylor top scoring with an unbeaten 44 off 51 deliveries. And not for the first time, fast bowler Megan Shutt was the standout for the visitors, claiming 3 for 31. In reply, captain Meg Lanning stroked a runner ball unbeaten 54 as the Aussies overhauled their target with 7 balls remaining to win by 7 wickets. West Indies women have now lost all 4 matches on the tour following their 3-0 whitewash in the preceding ICC Women's Championship Series in Antigua. Switching sports now, TNT cyclist Nicholas Paul is being hailed a national hero after smashing the 200-meter record at the just concluded Pan Am Games in Bolivia. He broke French cyclist Francois Pervy's 2013 record of 9.347 seconds with a remarkable 9.1 seconds at the elite cycling qualifiers for the Olympic Games. TV6's Sergio Dufour tells us more in this report.
The stars are on display and the fans are there to cheer on their success on the international circuit. Today it was all about the cyclists who are on a journey towards Olympic qualification. Cyclist Nicholas Paul has gained the majority of the attention for breaking the world record in the flying 200 meters.
It's just a pleasure breaking the world record and having the fastest time in the 200 meters.
Can you go faster?
Well, in the future, that's the plan.
He never knew that he could reach this far.
When I was younger, I never see myself reaching this far in cycling, but with football. But now I'm in cycling, so I just reaching for the stars.
Coach Erin Hartwell, who has crafted their master plan, which has seen them shot up to 3rd in the world, praised the team for their effort.
It's a phenomenal result, and really the culmination of the hard work and expectation that we've put in over the past couple of years. You know, finishing the Pan Am Games, over the past month, we felt that the world record was a realistic possibility for both the team sprint and individual sprint. I mean, look, nothing is guaranteed. The previous records have been set at altitude, so it was no gimme by any stretch.
he did not think that they were peaking too early.
Oh, no, I mean, by no means have we peaked early. I think we're somewhat ahead of expectations right now, but the next couple of months of preparation for the World Cup season and the World Championships will really show where we're at.
However, he knows that there's much more to do, and he wants the public to be involved.
There is an element of you got to get the guys to buy in, the country to buy in, the National Federation, etc., to understand what we're capable of, and that could be a hard sell. Fortunately, these guys, this program, have bought into it, and they've continued to be open-minded to how successful they can really be.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Again, the major developments of this day. The UN boss calls for international support to help recovery and rebuilding efforts in the hurricane-hit Bahamian islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama. And in sport, St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots end their losing streak in the CPL, beating St. Lucia Zouks by 6 wickets. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, subscribe to CanaNews.com. And for more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.